Jim and Terry Show coming to you bright-eyed. Yeah, not so much, but with a coffee. Poke him with a stick. Poke him with a stick. Yeah, Jim's falling asleep in the corner. Don't worry, Jim. The spiders will get you eventually. We're in the Hobbit hole in Bob Cajun talking about things that we find interesting to two retired guys. And the one that seems most interesting is the notion that maybe Carney's in the driver's seat with the majority. How did that happen?
I like it. Number one, I know you're not too fond about majorities, but I like the idea of give them go, do what you said you're going to do, and we'll worry about it later. So I like that he is in the driver's seat. I don't have a problem with crossing the floor. I've given it a thought. I know a lot of people have a problem, but I would love to have maybe 30 or 40 people cross the floor in Trump's cabinet, in his governing, whatever you call it,
yes,
legislation.
Congress. And
Congress.
Senate.
Yeah, cross the floor. Because sometimes you need to cross the floor because you've lost faith in the direction of your party, and so you can.
The leader has lost faith.
Well, you can carry on as a hypocrite, like one of them said. I'm unseen. He doesn't see me. He's not noticed. My voice means nothing within this party. Part of that might be because your policies are totally against what we thought. And when you come down to Poilievre with the Conservatives Party, remember I said that he's just hung himself because the way in which he got elected back in as leader was a little bit underhanded. And I think people like some of those other two that crossed the floor recently was after the convention, and they probably said, I don't like what happened here. I don't want to follow a leader that works that way. So I haven't got a problem with crossing over. I gave it some thought because I know some people really do, but I don't. I know the people elected, but they'll have a chance to elect again. People.
Can I add a little bit of
Sure.
history to it, which is, and I sent this in a response to one of our viewers' questions or comments on this. We did a podcast about crossing the floor, treason or wisdom, I think is what we called it. So to give a historical perspective, the parliamentary system that we have in Canada, in that system, when you vote, you're voting for the individual. It predates the use of parties. So you vote for that person. So if you like that person, fine, you're voting for that individual, regardless of where they align.
Well, isn't that funny you say that? Because obviously that exists to this day. If I want to vote Liberal or I want to vote Conservative, I'll be voting for a person. I'll be putting an X beside that person's name. And so as much as they may have represented a party to their people, part of that may be what I represented to you is false. It's better reflected in that other party. Yeah. So it's not always cynical, and it's not always a prime minister sucking people over and bringing them in.
Isn't that funny that's the way the news is even in Canada? The press is covering it as this thing that he's somehow doing something immoral, illegal, criminal by getting these people to, he's forcing them to cross. What did he offer them? Is he selling something to them? Offering them positions of power, money, wealth, fame, glory.
Maybe. I don't know, to tell you the truth, but it's politics. Something I don't want to be in.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
All the time.
Yeah, so if that's what it takes, I don't want to be in it, right? Yeah. And then when you get down to the latest thing, because Carney did a good thing, he's reduced the tax on gas. To help us through, only tax. To help us through the summer. It'll probably come back after that.
Is it 10 cents that he's taking
10 cents. And right away, Carney's copying Poilievre. Okay, two things here. Number one, and you can be a witness to me about this. I've always talked, maybe offline, with you that why can't Parliament be when someone else has a good idea?
That you celebrate it.
You take it.
Yeah.
So Carney's doing what Poilievre said, but of course it's not enough. Poilievre wants to all taxes. Well, Poilievre, you're conservative, so you're full of it because you know that those tax revenues are needed. Yes. And as a conservative, where are you going to replace that with? So you're just criticizing your very own plan only because it was done wisely in a proportion that can be met. That's my belief anyways. So if he took your idea, celebrate that. Yes, that came from the
I'm glad
Conservatives.
the Prime Minister finally recognized the value of reducing taxes on Canadians.
Yeah, and
Why couldn't he get up in the House of Commons and say that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Carney,
instead
for
of saying
following...
the guy doesn't know economics.
shyster. He's
he doesn't
deceiving.
know economics, and everybody's saying he ruined this, he ruined that. He did not. Just think about this for a minute. He was an economic whiz, and that's why he became the Bank of
Canada, then the Bank of England.
Yeah, well, he did something in the United States that helped them as well, didn't he? Never mind. So he became the Bank of Canada. Everybody praised him, except the people that don't like whoever's in power at that time. Then, because he was so bad, England, the United Kingdom, decided to hire him.
Because he was the worst
Because he
anyway.
was just the worst ever, ruined Canada, let him ruin us. Then after that, after England hired him, he went to the United, what's it called? The Euro. What's that? What is that group of people?
The EU?
The EU. He went there to assist the EU. And then, as we talked before, when all the conservative former prime ministers were praising up Trudeau
For his COVID response.
for his COVID response and economic savvy, I didn't know at the time Carney was his advisor.
Not in an official capacity.
Not in official capacity, but this guy is brilliant. And it was like our friend L said, when Carney speaks, the economic world leans forward in their chairs.
This is
But
House,
yet if you-
House of L that you are referring to.
But yet if you hear the critics, he's the worst thing that there ever is.
Well, it's
Unbelievable.
It's if you've swallowed the certain pill of ideology and you believe that Polyev is your answer, God love you, and you can keep your tinfoil hats because you are so out of touch with the reality of Carney. And again, the book, if you haven't had a chance to pick up the book Values, it's worth a read, and it's hard slogging even for me. There are economics sections that have formulas that you need a master's degree in economics.
I don't even try to think about it.
But I am interested in his principle, which was you put your values into your policies. And if you don't see it in policy, it's because you don't really believe it is true. So when we talk about greenhouse gases, if you don't believe that CO2 is a problem, then of course you're going to drill, baby, drill and have good, clean coal.
Well, and look at the mistakes of let's say the complete other side of Carney's reasoning would be the epitome of that is Donald Trump, who could not reason out any consequence to his
no
fit.
moral compass.
Yeah, he didn't know that they would block the Strait of Hormuz. You didn't know that? Who are you talking to? Where are you getting your advice? But he doesn't need advice, right? Because he knows everything. Remember he said that? I'm right
Knows
about
more
everything.
than his generals.
Yeah, he fired all his good generals, fired people that with integrity, so that he can have sycophants all around him to do his bidding. Well, there's your contrast. Just think about that. And now for the critics of our prime minister, show respect for those in power over you. In respect for him, give the guy a chance. Try to remember some basic things in this world. Number one, the world has never had a climate of politics like it is now. Never. The situation has
Interesting choice
never.
of words, my friend. Climate of politics.
Yeah,
That was nice.
could be a song. But it's never been like this. There's never been a nation south of us that doesn't like us and calls us an enemy. Never happened before. Never been a nation south of us that said, we are going to break you financially and you'll beg us to become the 51st state. Never happened before. So you got that. Now everybody, Carney finally showed up in Parliament. Yes, he's traveling all around the world to make deals.
I don't know how people get wound up on this. What deals and why isn't he in Parliament are the two big complaints from those who support Poilievre.
Yeah.
And yet we know that we are looking to transfer most, if not all, of our current trade in volume in all the, not just potash, not just mining and minerals,
Everything.
but softwood, wood, everything, to other sources, to other buyers.
It
other
takes
than the
work,
US. It's a lot of work because that's a lot of trade.
Especially when you've been a suck up to the United States for 100 years. Now you got to convince those other countries we are not the United States.
Tough sell.
Tough sell. So remember, all you critics out there, give the guy a break. This is a rough time to be the leader of a country. I'm a conservative, but that's the guy I want in power at this particular time. And I don't care if he's an NDP or Liberal. We need a guy that can talk to the world calmly, respectfully, and knows economics.
Notice there's no memes and no name calling from Carney?
None.
None.
Yeah.
It's like he's an adult.
Yeah, he's the adult in the room. He really is.
Well, watch out, NATO without the U.S. Watch out, EU with Canada, EU +1, NATO -1. And we'll see what other ideas emerge as we look to outsource the supply that we used to send to the United States. Our best buds, or was it buddies in bad times, buddies by necessity? Now we have a choice.
It's funny, I was watching CNN and they really had a highlight on Carney and what he was saying, so if you're going to travel, now we're going to PEI instead of Florida.
I like that. There you go.
Wine from the whatever valley, not,
As we
not
exit the show, Jim wants to keep talking.
I want to just keep going.
It's complicated, Jim. We'll carry more next show. Bye-bye for now.